Hello there. Today we're going to dive into the Latin American revolutions and discover their roots. We will also get to find out how a small group of untrained fighters through the jungles of South America were able to overcome the military power of Spain, and learn how in just a number of years Spain's colony in South America disappeared. Now, one of the most important events in the Latin American revolutions didn't happen in Latin America, but rather in France, with the rise of one man, Napoleon. Now, Napoleon, who gained power in 1799, launched a number of wars throughout Europe, and in 1808 actually conquered Spain. He then installed his brother, Joseph Bonaparte, to the throne. Now, as you can imagine, this did not sit well with Spaniards, who, beginning in 1808 and lasting until 1812 with his defeat at Moscow, launched a long and bloody guerrilla war against French occupation. Now, after the war, the Spanish had no government. It was decentralized, with no king, so they had to set up a military junta. A military junta is a bunch of, in this case, were princes. No, not that kind of military junta. This guy. More like this kind, with a number of princes ruling different parts of the empire, but none controlling the entire part. As you can see, this was not a formula for political stability, and beginning in 1810, the Latin Americans seized the opportunity to rebel against the Spanish while they were weak and disorganized. Now, one of the first revolutionaries to take the stage was the man by the name of Father Hidalgo, who led an unsuccessful military revolt against Spanish occupation in Mexico in 1811, which culminated with his capture and eventually execution. But the more famous revolutionary would be Simón Bolívar. Simón Bolívar was of the upper class of Spain and a very excellent military leader. He launched a long and bloody campaign beginning in 1811 and eventually ending in 1819 at the Battle of Boyacá in Colombia, which effectively ended Spanish rule of its South American colonies. Now, Bolívar wanted a united South America, but this idea died with him, with most of the independent nations splitting up into the ones you know today, with the biggest being Gran Colombia, which includes, as you guessed it, Colombia, Venezuela, and Ecuador. Now, an important outside force in these revolutions was actually the United States. In 1823, the United States issued the Monroe Doctrine, which said that no European countries could have new colonies in the South Americas. This greatly aided these new nations, for it denied Spain the ability to return and come back and conquer the colonies, or for new colonies to be set up by European powers.
Now, one of the truly amazing aspects of the revolutions was their domino-like effect on each other. How the fall of a French monarchy and the rise of Napoleon directly caused the Latin American revolutions. This idea of revolutionary fervor still occurs today.
Now, these revolutionaries aren't just history. We can see them today, especially in the Middle East, where we have seen that revolutions can not only affect one another and affect the ideals of one another, but actually cause one another. So we need to view these revolutions of the power they bring, and how these revolutions are actually a guide, for people will never stop trying to attain that insurmountable goal of a world in which it is utter paradise. Thanks for watching.